If I was a little shady, I meant it, okay? I'm not writing off the entire city or the entire state or the entire region. I'm not doing that. I'm just telling you about my very specific experiences as a Black person. And I'm saying Black in quotes because the Black experience or the white experience or any experience comes with a lot of nuance. And I think people forget that when they want to just like box in an entire group of people or an entire ethnicity or race. And I'm always skeptical of people who do that. And I think it's because I lost my West African accent. So people immediately think that I'm Black American, but lots of Black Americans see me and they recognize that I don't look Black American. So most of them know that, oh, she's not Black American like me. She's probably African or Caribbean. So Black Americans have that understanding. But in a city like Portland, where it's like 70% white people, they presume that I'm Black American. And then they will assume that I've had sort of a historical context that is a Black American experience, and then like apply that onto me. And then I have to correct them and say, hey, I'm actually Liberian. And then obviously they don't know where that is in the first place. So, but they see a Black person in front of them. So like, yeah.
Yeah, well, you basically get kind of shoved into the whole monolith kind of deal.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Should I do this or can you? Yeah.
I mean, do you just want me to be like...
Sorry, don't lose your thought.
So it's really interesting watching the people that try to put you in said monolith, and then you're like, no, and then watching their like demeanor change.
Yeah.
Or like you can physically watch the thoughts run across their head, because then they're like, okay, I have so many more questions, but how do I not be problematic? Or the ones that are like, okay.
I want to kind of share a couple of very specific things that have happened to me in Portland that has shifted how I see myself as a Bassa woman, that's my tribe, and then as a Liberian woman, that's my nationality, and then as a Black woman, that's my race, right? So that's what I'm saying as a Black person, because my first foundation is my tribe. That's how I grew up in West Africa, right? No one in West Africa is walking around like, yeah, I'm a Black person. We clock you on your tribe first, and then religion, and then class status. Africans can be very classist. And in many ways, I've noticed how I'm very classist living in Portland. I didn't know I was until I moved here, but that's another topic for another. It's a different one. But most of my friends are that I've made in Portland are white. Is that actually true? Would you say that's the case, or is it pretty mixed?
You've had a pretty even split.
Really?
Everybody.
Yeah.
At least in terms of the people that I've hung out with around you.
Yeah.
So you've had a pretty even mix across everybody, even though this is a very homogenous state.
Yeah.
So I think that point is absolutely moot.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're super going out of your way.
To find a
specific
specific
place. You're being a little bit more conscious of like interactions more so than you used to be.
Yes, this is so true, because I grew up in a very privileged city, Sacramento, California, without even knowing it. Sacramento is very, very mixed. Not mixed in the sense that like in other city where everyone's there, but everyone lives in their own segregated section of the city. Sacramento is mixed. Like, there was my Liberian family, and then the neighbor to our left were Hmong, the neighbor to our right was white, across from us was Vietnamese, Japanese, Mexican, like in one complex. Like, that was Sacramento, all over the city. That is the city that I grew up in. So I was never conscious of like, oh, I have to make this kind of friend until I moved here to Portland. Even when we lived in Atlanta, which is a mostly black city, I still never had to, and it's probably because I'm black, so like it wasn't a conscious thing for me. What do you think? Like, how, okay, pause, sidebar, tangent. So the experience that I'm having here in Portland, where I'm a black person in a mostly white city, you've had the reverse of that in Atlanta. A little bit in Houston as well, but more in Atlanta, where you were a white person in a mostly black city. So
but that honestly,
it's still different, but yeah.
It's still different because it like didn't super affect me as much.
Yeah.
Just because like I'm already very much a like solo kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came
You're
to interacting with everybody, like they would expect me to say something, and it was like, no, this
you never
is what
did.
it is.
Yeah.
You know, so me being a very fact of the matter, as well as like aware of who I'm talking to, and just kind of being slightly aware of the landmines before they even realize that they're placing them, gets me a lot further.
Meaning, specify like what you mean exactly.
Them, because I can't tell you how many times that I've just been blatantly asked, is the N-word in your diction?
Should I?
Like, I couldn't say how many times that I've had people literally stare me in my face, be like, do you say the N-word? And I'm like, no. And
like,
then the follow-up,
with them knowing that you're with me, or
just in general.
Okay.
Because nobody realizes when I say I have a wife and they look at me, they do not picture you.
So they always assume that your wife is white?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Or basically anything but what I...
Yeah. This is funny because for me, people assume that my husband is not black. Like, they actually like, yeah, you don't see... That's interesting. That is interesting.
Like, the amount of times I've like been like, yeah, do you want to see a picture of my wife? They're like, yeah, and they're like, oh shit. Like, my bad, dude.
Like, and it's not that like you're with like a light-skinned black woman or like a woman who's kind of black. It's like, no, like, you know. I'm not just black, I'm like also African. The
funniest one was in Houston. Was I showed one of my coworkers, and they're like, damn, I didn't know you like dark chocolate.
Whoa, someone said that to you?
Dude,
was this person a black person who said, really?
Yes, he was.
A black man?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was funny as shit.
And this is in Houston?
Yes.
Okay, so that was your experience as a white person in mostly black cities, Houston and Atlanta.
Yeah, like
it sounds fun.
It was chill.
Okay.
Like, a lot of them were like, you're cool.
Yeah.
Well, we can hang out. I'm like, dope. Why not? So it's like,
I'm jealous.
Just don't be an asshole. You can.
I don't think I'm an asshole though.
No, like on my end.
You're saying this to other white people or other white men.
Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's a person. Like, just treat them as that. You know, if you're over here gonna be racist, like, nobody's gonna want to fuck with you either way. So.
Speaking of racism, okay. All right. Shall we go there? I've been thinking about this. I feel like there are people in Portland who are well-meaning, but they come off as racist without knowing it. Or they, not like racist, but they come off as like completely ignorant and just unaware. And they want to virtue signal so hard that like they push through the obvious things without no. Anyway, so here's what happened to me. Here's one specific experience. I was with a white friend. Okay, so that was the tangent. We're back. We went to this bar and we were having a wonderful conversation with the bartender, and she was a white woman as well. My friend is a white woman, and we're having conversations about men, because when women sit in a group, we talk about men, okay? We talk trash about men. Immediately, it happens in like 5 minutes. So we're talking about men, and the conversation is, lovely. We're laughing, and the drinks were really good. So I'm like, another round, please. Thank you. Having fun. And then the topic of race comes up. I don't bring it up. Here's the other thing. I never have a need or want to bring up race, ever. Especially in a city like Portland. But people always bring it up first. That's one thing. They bring up race, and by this time, my friend knows that I'm Liberian. Like, she knows the context of her black friend. She knows that I'm her black friend, but I'm also Liberian and West African. The other lady has no clue. She just sees a black person, right? And then she brings up slavery. In the regular yes, slavery was fucked up, and we see the effects of how slavery still affects black people in America to this day. And she brought it up in a way that was very virtue signaling, one, but also very obviously she felt bad about it, and therefore had to sort of extend the guilt to the other white woman in her presence, and also virtue signal to the black person in her presence that, hey, I'm aware, right? And then while she's sort of, I thought that was posturing. While she was posturing, I said, I understand you because my ancestors also owned slaves. And I know exactly how you feel. I think that is so fucked up to what we did to Black Americans. When I said this, it was like something broke in her brain. Her brain actually broke in real time. Right. Because I wasn't she had a whole script in her head. She had a full narrative of and I'm not sure. Maybe this is a conversation that I need to have with a Black American who lives in Portland. What are the conversations you have with white people here in Portland around race? How does that go? Right? Because I don't know the narrative to follow. I don't have the script because I'm not Black American. Right? So when I said this, she was she looked actually, I don't know what to call the look confused, she had on her face. Confused, offended that I wasn't following the script. She made calculations in her head, and then she was oh.
The trigonometry meme that...
Yeah, that was her face. And after I said this, she didn't know what to say. She didn't have a response, right? The topic quickly changed. Mm-hmm. Because suddenly, I was on the same level as her of oh, your ancestors were slave owners? Mine too, girl. We can share the guilt. If that's the conversation you want to have with me as a Black person, that's the script that I have as a Liberian. But also, I'm probably the first Liberian she's met.
Yeah, considering the community is so small.
Right. Someone who's Black American, I feel would have a different experience. Because, again, the Black experience is a nuanced thing. It's very, very complex. It's very multifaceted. And I think people forget that. Or it's not that they forget. They're just unaware.
A lot of people that will bring that up a lot of people that would bring that up in conversation are usually, whether or not they're going to be Black American or not, tend to be like, they'll sheepishly just like play along, and it's like, no.
Oh.
Which
So
could have
you're
been-
saying, yes.
which could have been more of what was all of the like looks and all of that, because you weren't playing along.
So are you saying or proposing that other Black people who aren't Black American follow the script of like letting the white person like assume that they're Black American and kind of play along?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Because you'll also have the like JJCs that will take that as a compliment.
The fresh off the boat Africans who take the presuming that you're Black American, they take that as a compliment. This is true. This is so true because I remember, sorry.
Oh, no.
Hi. Sorry. This is so true. I totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
There are Black immigrants who take the presumption of Black American as a compliment. Yeah, because across the world, Black Americans are cool. Like, we grew up on hip-hop and the, like...
How many times
yeah.
have we been on the phone with family and they try their American accents?
They try, yeah. Oh, wow. So you're saying that she's probably had conversations with Africans and they, played along.
Mm-hmm.
I did not play along because I'm not going to lie to myself or to this
Random
other
stranger.
person. Yeah, for what? Why? Like, why would I do that? And, that's such a good point. Portland is a very, very, very liberal, progressive city that prides itself on how inclusive it is. And that is true. But I think sometimes it can feel performative as well. It can feel very much like a performative inclusivity, performative... I say posturing because that's what it felt like to me, or that's what it feels like. That's the vibe here. I don't think it's the vibe that I like, though. Maybe another Liberian might enjoy this. Like, this could be paradise for another Black person. You feel me? Like, but I think for me, and it's based on two things. The fact that I grew up in a city that was actually inclusive and that was actually mixed. And then I spent the first 11 years of my life in West Africa. So I have a strong foundation of my identity as a Bassa and Liberian woman. And growing up in Sacramento, interacting with lots of Black Americans, Caribbean, with Africans, with other Africans and Bs.
Don't swat at it, because then it will sting.
Okay.
Just when you
Okay.
see it,
I'm losing my thought too. What was I just saying?
with your solid foundation.
Right. I have a solid foundation on both my ethnicity and nationality that I don't need to hold on to my race so much as a foundational part of my identity. For me, it's my ethnicity first, and that what's the word? That informs how I interact with my own culture and other people's culture, including Black American culture. And that is something that I try to remind everyone of. Everyone who presumes that I'm Black American, I always remind them that, hey, Black American culture is wonderful. I appreciate it. I'm not Black American though. So there are certain things about Black American culture that I'm completely ignorant of, but you should go and talk to a Black American person about that. You're not talking to one. And I'm having to constantly remind people of that living here in Portland. And it's partly because there aren't a lot of Black people in Portland in the first place. So like that will come up a lot. Whereas in a place like Houston, Sacramento, New York City, San Fran, or LA, or Oakland, California, in those cities that are much more mixed than Portland, there isn't too much of a need to remind folks of the nuances of the Black experience in America. So I think, and it's not a major problem per se, it's just an annoyance. It's just frustrating a little bit, having to remind folks of that. But the most annoying part of it for me is the posturing. Like, I don't want you to virtue signal to me because you see my skin color and you like have a whole narrative about that. I don't think that's okay. Which is like, it's well-meaning, but the impact is very flat. It's very flat at best and racist at worst. Okay, I'm going to talk about my experience as a Liberian and a West African who's lived in Portland. So suddenly I'm not talking about my experience as a Black person again. So you now understand that I'm not Black American, right? So when I say Black, I don't mean Black American. I mean Liberian and Bassa, West African. We're friends now. You understand me, all right? So my experience as a Liberian woman in Portland over the last 4 years. I'm lucky. I have the privilege where my family is very involved in the African communities around the country, from California to New York and Jersey, Massachusetts a little bit, but from the West Coast to the East Coast. So my cousin on my mother's side, who lives in Jersey, who is very much involved in the West African community there, and he's part of the Liberian organization there in Jersey. He knew someone who was involved in the Liberian Association here. He connected me to that man, and then he involved me in the Liberian Association here. So when I moved here, I had sort of a preset community for me already. So I wasn't sort of a fish out of water culturally. So I had that privilege, honestly. I had that, thankfully. If I didn't have that and I just moved here, it would have been a bit rough for me culturally. The Liberian community here is very, very small, but it's close-knit. Like, we met one of the aunties, and immediately she cooked for us and she gave us food, and she was very much like, Liberians are like that. West Africans in general Africans in general are very much like that. And I noticed that a lot of Asian cultures are very much like that as well. It's very like, if you're a part of the community, you're in the community, whether you like it or not. Because we moved here without knowing, like, we don't have family here, right? But because I had a connection to the Liberian community here, it felt like we already had family here. So because of that, I haven't felt sort of out of place culturally in Portland. Although outside of my Liberian community here, I always have that friction of having to remind folks like, hey, I'm actually Liberian, and therefore I have this other narrative that isn't Black American. But I do want you to sort of explore the different experiences of Black people in America, not just Black American narrative and culture. Although that is valid, because foundationally, Black Americans are Americans. So they are a part of American history, and you should learn about that history and, their culture and everything. Learn about that, but I want you to be more aware. If you're going to call yourself progressive, then actually be it. I don't want you to sort of perform it. I want you to be it in real life, in real time with everyone. I will leave 2 videos that I watched recently that were very informative on sort of the nuance of the categories of Black people and therefore the sort of nuances of the Black experiences, because there are multiple. So I will leave those videos below because the people in those videos are a lot more informed about this subject in terms of like theory and their academic studies and all of that stuff. I'm not. I'm just speaking on my personal experience, and they have more of a political language to inform you on that. So I encourage you to watch those 2 videos and have a good sense, especially the first one where he talks about like who is considered Black in America, and he talks about the ADOS movement and then the Black immigrant cultures here, Caribbean and African, and how there's a lot of friction within those communities that everyone else isn't really aware of, because everyone else sees just a Black person or Black monolith, and we have that friction. And I think everyone kind of has that friction as well. A part of me feels like it is a little bit of navel gazing a little bit, but there is meat to that conversation. So anyway, I will leave all of that below in the description box. If there's any more questions that you guys have, I think y'all should leave it in the comments and I will make a part 2 of this video. I don't think there's any more though. If you found this video valuable, informative, educational, awkward, if it angered you, let me know why. Let me know. If I was a little shady, I meant it, okay? With that, I will see you in the next video. But before you click away, please support me by liking, commenting, and most importantly, subscribing. I have a goal of 500 subscribers here. I'm thinking of having a little sale, a little late summer sale. But yeah, if a back to school sale on website. So yeah, if you or anyone you know are interested in a beautiful content-based website, I will create one for you. All you have to do is go to morriscreatives.com. That is my web design studio, and we will be in touch, okay? And with that, that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.